The first thing you should know is that the sky looked angry that day, like it had swallowed the sun and decided to spit ice. I'm talking sideways sleet wind cutting through 3 layers streets glazing over in minutes. Riverbend, Ohio isn't built for that kind of storm, but Bills don't care about weather. So there I was, Darius Cole, 31, cheap rain pants, beat-up helmet straddling a rattling Yamaha that should have retired in 2009, trying to make 5 deliveries before my boss started texting me skull emojis. I wasn't headed anywhere special when I saw them, a family on a sagging porch, suitcases stacked like sandbags against the wind. Dad in a factory jacket, Mom in an office cleaner sweatshirt, and a girl clutching a manila envelope to her chest like it was oxygen. They were soaked through, eyes red, the kind of red you can't fake. My hands were already numb on the grips, but something about the way the girls stared at the street, half prayer, half dare, made me ease off the throttle and roll to the curb. "You folks all right?" I said, voice muffled in the helmet. The dad, Mateo, didn't bother pretending. "We're out of options," he said, words shaking. "Flight's in 2 hours. She has to be in Boston tonight for orientation, full scholarship. No rollovers, no nothing. Roads are shut. The bus is canceled. Ride shares won't come out this far." The girl, Sophia, held up the envelope. "Crawford Law," she said, almost apologizing. "First one in my family." She'd done the work. That much you could tell. The kind of kid who writes scholarship essays on the bus and washes dishes at midnight and smiles anyway because she knows what she's building. I should back up. 12 years earlier I had my own envelope. Engineering. Full ride. Day before I left, my dad ghosted and my mother's heart threw up a white flag. So I called the university from a hospital hallway and told them I wouldn't be coming. I've been riding ever since, delivery to delivery, rent to rent, keeping my mom Lila in her meds and her little hydrangeas alive on a window ledge. Sophia's knuckles were blue around that envelope. The road glittered with black ice, and somewhere in my chest something old and stubborn sat up and said, "Move." "I'll take her," I heard myself say. Mateo blinked like I'd offered him a rocket ship. "On that thing?" "On this thing," I said. "Backpack only. Document, phone, 1 change of clothes. You can ship the rest." Her mom. Carla grabbed my sleeve. "Why would you do this?" She wasn't angry, just confused, that kindness could look like a guy in a cracked visor. Because once I said I wished someone would do it for me. Right on cue, my phone buzzed. Brent Klein, my boss at Quick Dash Logistics. I put it on speaker so everyone could hear. "Cole, you're late on the office park run and the medical courier is in 20. Miss those and we're done. You're on thin ice, pun intended." "Brent, I said I need to bump 2 stops. You need to what?" "No. You finish the route or don't bother coming back." Wind roared. Sophia's eyes were a floodgate. I stared at my cracked reflection in the phone screen, heard my mother's voice, "Baby, you'll sleep fine when you choose right," and said, "Then I guess I'm not coming back." Brent laughed the way people laugh when they think they own you. "You're choosing a stranger over your job." I ended the call. "Helmet," I said to Sophia, handing her my spare. "Rule 1, don't fight the lean. Rule 2, don't let go." We roared into weather that felt personal. The highway looked like a frozen river, lanes disappearing under slush trucks, fishtailing wipers crying for mercy. Every gust shoved us a foot sideways. I could feel her breath stuttering against my back and the clench of her fingers at my jacket hem. "You okay back there?" I yelled. "Just get me there," she said, voice small but iron. "Please get me there." Halfway to Lakeview Regional, the engine coughed like a smoker. The bike sagged dead throttle. I coasted into a gas station canopy, teeth chattering, and popped the seat with hands that didn't want to work. The intake had sucked in slush. The plug caps were wet. I shook water out stuffed napkins from the coffee counter around the filter, talked to the Yamaha like a saint and a mechanic at the same time. "Come on, old friend. One more miracle. Okay?" She fired on the second try, begrudging loud alive. We sprinted the last 10 miles between semis that sprayed slush like waves. We rolled up to the curb at 5:41, 29 minutes to boarding. Sophia peeled off the helmet and burst into those shoulder-shaking sobs that have shame and gratitude and terror and relief all mixed together. "I don't have words," she said. "I don't even know your name." "Darius," I said, trying not to shiver. "Make it count, Sophia." Can I Take your picture? I need to remember this exactly. I must have looked ridiculous, soaked through road grit on my jaw, steam rising off the exhaust like a baptism. She snapped it anyway, hugged me so quick I almost missed it, then sprinted inside. The terminal doors whooshed shut. I was just a guy in a parking lot again. I rode back to QuickDash because that's what pride does when it has no plan B. Brent was waiting in the loading bay with a termination letter and a smirk. He'd probably practiced. Turn in the bag, Cole. And the company phone. Liability told me to say thank you, but they didn't say I had to sound like I meant it. I handed him everything and said nothing. You think the world runs on good deeds, he added, leaning in. It runs on deadlines. Sometimes it runs on both, I said, and walked out into the sleet. I got home after dark, socks, soaked shoulders, screaming. Mom looked up from her chair, took one glance at my face, and patted the blanket beside her. I told her everything. Porch call ice engine the goodbye. When I got to the part where I lost the job, I tried to make a joke of it. She wouldn't let me. We'll tighten the belt, she said, voice calm like Sunday. But you did right. The trick with right is it doesn't always pay today. The next morning, the phone wouldn't stop ringing. Unknown numbers, local stations. Can we get a comment? Is this the hero biker? I thought it was spam, until Mom showed me a post. There I was in Sophia's photo, tired, soaked, stubborn, with a caption that did all the heavy lifting. She'd written about the porch, the storm, the risk, the choice. It had maybe 200 likes when she went to bed. By sunrise, it had 2 million. Then everything sped up. A neighbor I barely knew, Jasmine, from 2 blocks over, commented that I'd skipped college to take care of Mom, that I never complained, that I once shoveled 6 driveways after a 12-hour shift, and refused the money because neighbors don't invoice neighbors. People screenshotted that and ran with it. Hashtags appeared. Reporters called. The local paper wanted a photo on a clean day. Good luck. Brent called too. Darius, pal, we got off on the wrong foot yesterday. Come on back. I can get you a newer bike bump in pay. I'm good, I said. He sputtered. I hung up. At noon, a black SUV idled at the curb. A woman stepped out in a wool coat that looked warmer than my apartment. Mr. Cole. I'm Eleanor Pace. If you live in Ohio, you know that name. Buildings, scholarships, a hospital wing. May I come in? She didn't talk like a headline, more like someone who remembered prices at the grocery store. When I was 19, she said, hands around a chipped mug of tea, an HR clerk at the steel mill co-signed my first semester loan. I never forgot. I've been looking for someone to lead a program I care about: transportation grants, emergency help scholarships that move fast. People who live close to the edge can't wait 6 months for kindness. I'm not a degree on a wall, I said. I'm a delivery guy who got lucky in a storm. You're someone who runs toward hard, she said. That's rarer than certificates. Then she slid a folder across my mom's coffee table. A job, real salary, health coverage for Mom, a budget big enough to turn luck into process. She wasn't finished: keys to a small paid-off house. I heard your mother wants a garden. And an envelope from a group of writers who'd started a fundraiser on their own. They want you to seed a scholarship. Maybe call it the First Ride Fund. I should have said something profound. I asked if I could mow her lawn. The months rolled. Mom got the surgery she'd been postponing for a decade. I started at the Pace Foundation, took off the helmet, and put on a tie that never felt like me until I met the kids. We paid for tires so a dad could get to a night shift. Replaced a transmission for a single mom before she lost her job. Bought bus passes for a whole block of kids who'd been missing school because the fare hikes hit harder than anyone admitted. The First Ride Fund sent 5 students to colleges they were sure had been invented to tease them. And Sophia, she sent a text the night grades posted Dean's list. Still can't feel my hands from studying. Still feels worth it. We didn't talk much after that. Sometimes the best thank yous are distance and proof. A year later, I stood in a packed community center as Sophia, back in Riverbend for spring break, took the mic at a town hall. People were arguing about whether to fund a weekend bus route. The usual lines were drawn: who pays, who benefits, who deserves. She told the room about a porch, a storm, a stranger, a bike. About how a choice can look foolish to a spreadsheet and essential to a life. If we want different outcomes, she said, we can't keep rewarding safe hearts. Brent was in the back, arms folded, not clapping. He caught my eye. For a second, I saw the day in the loading bay, the smirk, the script. Then I saw a guy who'd been taught the wrong rules and never got the courage to break them. Do I think I was right? Most days, yes. But here's the part folks argue about under these videos. The messy part. A delivery went late that day. A clinic waited longer for supplies. Some stranger had a cold sandwich because I chose a stranger's future over a stranger's lunch. That's the thing about right, it's not weightless, it lands somewhere. So tell me, what would you have done? Is a rule. Still a rule when it keeps a door shut on someone who already clawed through 3. Have you ever watched a manager choose a policy over a person and felt your stomach drop? Or have you been that manager and still wonder if you were the villain or just the adult in the room? If this story hit you, if you've seen kindness change the math in a way spreadsheets couldn't drop your city, drop your age, drop the time you're watching. Argue with me in the comments about right and wrong, about merit and luck, about the way we size people up at a glance. Like the video, so it travels farther than Riverbend. Subscribe if you want more true stories where ordinary folks push back on the script and just for a second make the world blink.